If you understood everything I said, you'd be me. But if they were me, then who would I be? Wait, who am I? What number is this? Don't call this again. I showed them nobody messes with Adam Wee. The Bricklayer is currently streaming on Netflix. It was directed by Rennie Harlan, who has had quite the eclectic career. He recently did The Strangers Chapter 1. Boy, oh boy, if you want to know what I thought about The Strangers Chapter 1, check out my review of that after you check out the rest of The Bricklayer. In fact, just watch the review. Don't bother watching the goddamn movie, because it was written by 4 different people. It took 4 people to write this painfully generic spy, espionage, double twisty, triple turny thing with CIA operatives and a guy named Raddick. Not Cole Raddick. We're not going independent wrestling here. We're going Victor Raddick, who basically decided to be a very rotten little radish Raddick. I don't really think that's how that works. He is doing some very bad things, and only a man named Steve Vale, played by Aaron Eckhart, who has really just had a hell of a goddamn career as far as having great moments and then also being slop like this. Yeah, I'm tipping my hands on how I felt about The Bricklayer. If you thought The Beekeeper was generic, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You ain't seen nothing yet, dude. Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. Let's bricklay around. So yeah, the 4 writers. Hannah Wegg, who did Septembers of Shiraz, wherever the hell that is. Peter Travis, who directed Dread. That wasn't very good, but it did have some nice urban developments about it. Har har. Matt Johnson, who did Into the Blue and Torque. That explains a lot. That honestly explains a lot. If anybody remembers Torque and you got through that movie without wishing for your own death, then you're better than me. So also Mark Moss, who did Along Came a Spider. That's kind of where you can tell that the mystery aspect of this, they really tried to implement that, except they didn't, because it seemed like everybody involved in this sustained several major head injuries. So Aaron Eckhart is a bricklayer. As far as titles go, pretty accurate, pretty generic. Former CIA operative that is blacklisted but called into action by a man named O'Malley that he has a history with to hunt a man named Raddick that he has a history with. And there's also a special agent named Kate Bannon. Nina Dobrev, who, gorgeous, good grief, looks like Jennifer Love Hewitt, honestly. I want to say a younger Jennifer Love Hewitt, except Jennifer Love Hewitt looks really, really great still. And I've said Jennifer Love Hewitt so many times, it still has all meaning because I would, and you would too. They must go to Greece and figure out why Raddick is targeting everybody. By the way, Raddick is played by Clifton Collins Jr., which sounds like a name way too snooty to be involved in something called The Bricklayer. Also, Aaron Eckhart lays brick, and then he gets attacked. And then he gets called into this whole thing. And then we must figure out and solve this mystery before everybody's history. The Bricklayer Tales. Woohoo! There's also an old flame named Ty, played by the incredibly gorgeous Ilfinesh Hedera. I believe that's how you say her name. If not, I apologize. Good God, she is incredibly attractive. And yeah, Tim Blake Nelson was CIA O'Malley. You may recognize him. May recognize a lot of faces in this and wondering what the fuck are they doing in this. So yeah, painfully generic, bad shootouts. Really, really just seemed totally phoned in. I think Rennie Harlan's just doing this shit for the check now. I don't blame him. The man did Cutthroat Island, a movie so goddamn bad that it tanked the fucking studio that funded it. Whether that was Rennie Harlan's fault or not, I'm still going to blame him partly for it. So, yeah. People just do shit, and it's stretched out to like an hour and 50 minutes, and it had enough material for maybe an hour and 25. There were some stretched out moments and some very obvious things going on, and yeah, there's really not much to get into besides that, so I'm going to get into spoilers. The Bricklayer is currently on Netflix if you want to check it out, and if you do, you have my sympathies and you have my condolences. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So, basically, this guy Raddick and Steve knew each other. They were going to escape from this CIA agency operative stuff, and then the agency basically decided to kill Raddick's family. And he's gone rogue, killing journalists, killing anybody that he feels was responsible. And there's Russian people involved, and this is in Greece. He's going to kill this guy named Costas, not Bob Costas, because he is not Vince McMahon dealing with that 2001 interview PTSD. If you get that, you get that. That is a real deep cut for wrestling fans. And yeah, Vale and Bannon must stop. They must stop this gentleman. Yeah, there's nothing really good about this. I did kind of find it funny that one of the first lines you hear is Steve Bale, "I'm the bricklayer." Oh boy, good. We've got that kind of crisp writing here. So yeah, basically Radek ends up killing somebody in the beginning, some pretty blonde that's probably in her late 40s, early 50s. Shows pictures, various targets, and yeah, journalists being targeted, and if Kostas is killed because he is a very popular man in Greece, as far as I believe he's the prime minister, he could be the fucking towel boy for all I know, it doesn't matter. And if he's killed, then it's World War III, because apparently Greece is the center of the world. I've never been to Greece. I have no intention of going to Greece, even though I've heard it's quite beautiful. I know there's plenty of beautiful Greek women, but I digress. Yeah, this jumped around to various locations, jumped around to various places I don't care about. The line about Miles Davis, you know, if you knew everything I said, you'd be me. And there you go. Not Miles Davis, not Sammy Davis Jr., because Miles Davis had both eyes. So, yeah, there's a backstory about a guy named Patricio who has a dog, and Aaron Eckhart snuck over drugs basically to help his dog's, I guess, illness? Maybe? The dog is there basically as a little prop for the fact that Kate is allergic to dogs. She looked great in that red dress, I'll say that much. Boy fucking howdy. And yeah, we get shootouts, we get bullshit, we get, talk, between Radek and Aaron Eckhart's character, Vale. That's how memorable the names are. And it turns out that actually, he's kind of trying to take him down himself, and the CIA didn't bring him in. Or they did, or whatever. Does it really fucking matter what they did? No, because this movie goes back on itself so many times. Despite having a simplistic story, it's also completely incomprehensible as far as motives. There's a bike race. Radek wants 100 million in Bitcoin for reasons unknown. Why you would invest in that stuff, I have no idea. And yeah, it's all about the agency and how you agent. And they question whether O'Malley is the mole, O'Malley as it were. He wants to stop Radek, but Kate helps him. Then there's this thing where Patricio is killed. He's laced with explosives. These random guys show up that have something to do with this whole thing, but they're so indistinct they don't matter. They get blown up because Aaron Eckhart says, "I'm going to throw explosives at him and get away from it," unlike when I was Two-Face. Yes, Two-Face. He is Two-Face, right? It wasn't Thomas Jane that was Two-Face? Yeah, it was Aaron Eckhart. Thomas Jane was Punisher. They kind of look alike, don't they? So, yeah, Kate got used as bait. And that didn't work out so goddamn well for everybody involved. Radek basically says, "I'm going to take Kostas out, and then God help us all, because it must be." But he has a press conference gun, which actually is kind of creative. Press conference camera gun, that is. Shooting from a landing, like one of those painter deals. Also, there was a funny thing earlier where Eckhart was bricklaying, and then, this lift that carries people up to the top floor got smashed, and this guy exploded. I don't know why that happened. Explosions lift us up where we belong. And it was funny, though, before the press conference part, where he got the message from Radek, and then this message will self-destruct now! And then he knocks the painter's, scaffolding down, with a sledgehammer. Why don't you smash his hand and then shoot him when he has a photo? Because we see flashbacks throughout this where they're going to meet at a place called Grizzly Pines on a picturesque beach that I was hoping was the beach from Old, so everybody in this movie aged and died horribly for making it. How dare you, everybody involved, for making this? How dare you? And yeah, then it turns out Ty actually was involved in this whole thing because she had a record that Vale passed on to Radek, and Radek blackmailed her. So Ty had to do this. Look, I'm just saying, I would do stuff to help her out because she's a gorgeous woman. But yeah, she ends up trying to run over Eckhart after basically tie up loose ends. And then Kate shoots him, or shoots her, to stop her from running over him. Too many pronouns, pal. Sorry, Vince McMahon. And that's it. And then Kate's going to be promoted. But she can't be promoted because she won't work for the agency like this. And then she takes a dog home with her. And Aaron Eckhart just does whatever the fuck he does. The Bricklayer sucks. It's terrible. I don't even know if it's going to crack the top 10 films of the year, for worse, that is. Because there's been so much dog shit this year. This is up there with some of the worst. But it's just mostly painfully generic. Again, The Beekeeper, this is like a bargain basement version of The Beekeeper. It just isn't very good despite the talent involved. Yeah, 4 writers for this. F, just in case you didn't guess. Agree, disagree with what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rentlin. I'll see you soon.